All right, shalom, Hebrews. This Israel being Israel for the Israelite Brotherhood, and I want to share this message with you Hebrews. I know a whole lot of us Hebrews, got some knowledge, and some of us done woke up and we kind of like got an understanding of what's going on and what we've been going through as a people. Okay, have you ever considered why Hebrews have eyes to see but can't see, and have ears to hear but can't hear? Okay, that's gonna go back to the biblical days from when we left Egypt. See, when we left Egypt and we was going into the promised land, we didn't go into the promised land wholeheartedly with 100% belief in the Creator, even though the Creator presence was there with us, and we seen Moses dealing with a higher entity. We seen Moses dealing with a higher entity. It's wrote. We seen and witnessed the Creator, and the Creator dwelled among us. But yet, why we don't have eyes to see and ears to hear? It's gonna be because when we left Egypt, we was heavily up under Egyptian influence. We sojourned in Egypt. Man, about 400 some years. Like I said, I got a video explaining how we wasn't in bondage in Egypt for no 400 years, and how we kind of like got that prophecy kind of like hidden towards the bondage that we in now. Well, okay, Hebrews, why we have eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear? Now the scriptures kind of give a little explanation. It kind of gives a little explanation, but we have to remember, when we reading our history and trying to understand our past through the scriptures, through the Tanakh, we have to understand that our history fell into some Babylonian scribes' hand. I got videos about this, of how our heritage fell into the hands of some Babylonian scribes that's responsible for Babylon's history, written history from its beginning, going all the way back to the Tower of Babel, when the Creator dispersed the people and gave them different languages. Well, they was there when everybody was of one language, and that's why come they try to promote that one world government. That's gonna be them Sephardims. That's gonna be the Sephardims. That's gonna be the Sephardi groups. That's gonna be the Sephardi groups that we abandon our heritage to first. We abandon our heritage to Ashkenazi too, but it's kind of like a little difference, because Ashkenazi gonna be the people that chased us out the promised land. Maybe I'll go into that, but I got videos covering that already. Okay, our heritage fell into the hands of some Babylonian scribes that was Amorites. These people come from Babylon, and all the people that came from Babylon, and especially from Sippar was a Babylon Amorite created city and nation, and you couldn't become a king. You couldn't become a king or rule nowhere in Mesopotamia unless you got it consecrated from Sippar. And Sippar is Sephardim, and that's where these people are from. The people we abandon our heritage to, that was placed in Samaria in 722 BC. And it's real important to understand who they are in their history, because basically our problems and what we've been going through as a people has kind of centered around them, and they are kind of like the people who kind of like kickstart and manage all our troubles. You know what I'm saying? And we abandon our heritage to them, and our problems come basically from them trying to hold on to our heritage and stop us from waking up to who we are at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And they got the power to do that. All right. Why we have ears to hear and can't hear, and eyes to see and can't see is because, when we left Egypt and we seen the Creator, we didn't abandon our Egyptian connection and embrace the culture that Prophet Moses was trying to give us. That was a anti-Egyptian and anti-Mesopotamian culture that Prophet Moses gave us, that would have extinguished the Egyptian culture and the Mesopotamian culture if we would have followed the law. And we had the power to destroy Egypt, but we was basically in love with Egypt, and we was in love with the Egyptian society and how Egypt functioned. And like I said, I got videos showing how we always wanted to return to Egypt and wanted to go back to Egypt, even after Exodus. You know what I'm saying? And after pulling those numbers a couple of times, you can kind of understand why the Creator didn't give us eyes to see and ears to hear. And basically, eyes to see is just to recognize when some culture or some religious practice coming at you, or any type of entity that is coming at you that is anti what Moses said. You know what I'm saying? Being able to recognize that and not fool with it, and having ears to hear is to be able to, when you hear some wicked stuff, to turn it off and not want to mix up with it and deal with it. Like how today, our whole culture is centered around wickedness, and it's like the rap culture. It's like how it started off kind of clean, and how we kind of like explain our problems and the things we was going to, but then like how an entity got involved and hijacked the culture, and now it's just on a whole nother level, and it's all wicked, and now they got all other people in other nations participating in it and spreading the wickedness that way, and that's having ears to hear and can't hear and can't hear. We listen to garbage, and we take garbage in, and we accept that garbage as cool, and that's how they got us. And first of all, that's another thing. We kind of like, we at fault, but then we kind of not at fault, coming from slavery and having our whole heritage stripped from us. You see what I'm saying? Our whole heritage stripped from us. But our whole heritage was stripped from us because we broke the covenant in the book of Jeremiah during the Babylonian Wars, saying that we want to go back to Egypt and worship their religion. That's why I said, like in the beginning, when we left Egypt, we kept wanting to go back to Egypt, and we was giving Prophet Moses a hard time. You see what I'm saying? And every time we ran into some difficulties, we say, hey, let us return back to Egypt, and well, we won't see no troubles and all that stuff. Not, understanding, that's why he say we have ears to hear and eyes to see, that Egypt was a culture that was developed and that had turned to idol worship. Egypt had turned to idol worship, and you can see that by the statues and the human, the half human, half the hybrid statues that they have in Egypt. And Egypt had lost their ways, and the Creator was totally against the Egyptian system, as well as the Amorite, Canaanite culture that we was going into exiting Egypt. You see, we had the Creator with us, and Moses gave us a law, and we were supposed to go in and put the Canaanites' lights out and get rid of them in a head base, which was Jerusalem. And their rule stretched all the way from Jerusalem to Mesopotamia to the Euphrates River. That's like I showed you. They towns are Sipper, and Nipper. Those gonna be the Babylonian scribes town. Those are the people that's responsible for Babylon history since the Tower of Babel. They been around running stuff since then, and that's why come they ahead so good in society and that you can't pinpoint them and say, oh, they the cause of this and they behind this. It's because they've been doing this for so long that they know how to set up levels. They know how to set up organizations that basically do their will now. And all they have to do is kick back in the back and have, the certain knowledge and keep the system afloat. And that's what they've been doing for a long time. Well, our heritage fell to them. And our heritage gonna fall to them is because we didn't want to come up off the Egyptian culture, which destroyed us, which caused our enslavement. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, when we left Egypt and we was dealing with Prophet Moses and we was going into the promised land, and how we kept wanting to return back to Egypt under any troubles that we had. You know what I'm saying? We said, hey, let us go back to Egypt. And then the Creator finally said this. If you go to Deuteronomy 29, and then you get to verse 4, you'll see it says, yet the Elohim had not given you an heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. You see what I'm saying? So, that never changed. That never changed. You can't find nowhere in there where see that the Creator then gave us eyes to see and ears to hear. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't have never broke covenant for the Egyptian religion and ran into Africa and got enslaved. But if you go to Isaiah 6:9, prophet Isaiah, he gonna say the same thing to show you that that this what we're was going into, and that was the state of our mind then, as well as it's the state of our mind now. How we can hear but can't hear, and we can see but can't see. And what that means is how we can see the wickedness and know that there's wickedness, and we don't have the power to restrain from it, to get away from it, or to condemn it. And that's the same way with hearing. You can hear all kind of wicked music that will have an influence on you. As we see today how the wicked rap music has an influence on our youth, controlling them, basically destroying them, got them destroying themselves. They go back to having ears to hear but can't hear, because you don't see that wickedness in none of the other cultures where the people of that culture is advocating genocide on themselves. You see what I'm saying? We the only people that do that foolishness, that sing about killing each other all day. You know what I'm saying? And they put it on blast. They gonna put it on, on the high stool. And that's how, we have ears to hear but can't hear. Because if we didn't listen to that garbage that our people be making, or if we had the ears to hear and understood that we was making music to destroy ourselves, we wouldn't do it. You see what I'm saying? We wouldn't do it. Okay, as you go to prophet Isaiah, he gonna say the same thing. All right, and he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. You see what I'm saying? That's awful. That's awful, and that's the state we've been in the whole time. That's like if you go over here, he basically telling you why come that we like this. You know what I'm saying? If you go to this Isaiah 44:19, all right, 18, they have not known nor understood, for he had shut their eyes that they cannot see, and their hearts that they cannot understand. And none considereth in his heart, neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burnt part of it in the fire. Yea, also I have baked bread upon the coals thereof. I have roasted flesh and eaten it, and shall I make the residue thereof an abomination? Shall I fall down to the stalk of a tree See, that's how we were. You see what I'm saying? And basically what he's saying is, that's like in our last days, we used to make cakes and pour out drink offerings to the Queen of Heaven, which ain't nothing but Hathor, the golden calf. The golden calf is like what the cross is to Christianity, like how all Christianity branches use the cross. Where that golden calf, Hathor the golden calf, was what the cross is, and how we worship and did that Egyptian religion, and how we would take, the food and the drinks and bless it and worship it, the doings, the rituals of that religion, that Egyptian religion, and how, we were so ignorant in doing it that we would turn and make anything in the gods. That's like, the little statues and stuff that they had. They might as well be the stalk of a tree, because, they ain't nothing. That's nothing. And how we would, worship that type of stuff, and how we had that mentality. We had that mentality. And look, and he feedeth on ashes. A deceived heart had turned him aside, that he could not deliver his soul. And that's the way it is now. A deceived heart, like them Amorites, those folks that control the entertainment industry, have turned the Hebrews, turned them aside, that they cannot deliver their own, they can't even get out the traps and the negativeness of the entertainment industry, because of the money that lure them in, that corrupt their souls. You see, and all that was set up by these folks who set up this whole Western society. That set up this whole Western society, them Amorites. The Sephardi groups, along with Ashkenazi too. Ashkenazi play an equal part as the Sephardis do when it comes to dealing with us, because we abandon our heritage to them for the Egyptian religion. Like I said, we couldn't, the Creator gave us eyes to see, but we couldn't see, ears to hear, but we couldn't hear. If we would have only heard Prophet Moses and what he said in his last ceremony, in his last speech before he went off, and he said that if we disobeyed that law, that sure as day turned to night, that them curses that he spoke about was going to come down and get us. And we had eyes to see and ears to hear, but we didn't hear it. And you see how we in bondage now, and how, this system, got a hold to us, and how it's hard. They done took our destruction to a subliminal level, and we see images and negativeness, and we so gone that we try to imitate the negativeness and the evilness that's been presented to us, and we call that's righteousness. That's the same as what he said right here, as the person that that take the food and eat it, the residue of, and make it abomination and fall down to it. We the same way. The music industry and the hip hop that we started off positive, how they done turned to negative, and how it cannot go back. It's got to be destroyed. You see, we have eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear. It's why they put that negativeness on us. Is why they flipped it from being clean, our culture, from being clean and innocent, to negativeness, and how we had no power to stop it is because we had eyes to see and couldn't see, and ears to hear and can't hear. That's like in the book of Jeremiah. All the prophets was telling us, each prophet basically was telling us, hey man, y'all need to clean up and get away from this idol worship, the Egyptian worship, the Canaanite worship that we was doing, and that how it was going to destroy us, and how we need to just believe in the Creator. And we had eyes to see but couldn't see him, ears to hear but couldn't hear him, and we got destroyed. So hopefully, out of this captivity that we're going through now, that we're going to get some eyes to see And we're going to see the troubles and the evilness that them people trying to put down on us. And we're going to have ears to hear. And we're going to shun that wickedness that they trying to force down on us on a subliminal level, listening to that wickedness. You know what I'm saying? This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Okay, if you go to Jeremiah, that's going to be Jeremiah 5:21. Jeremiah 5:21. All the prophets basically said the same thing. 5:21. And it says, "Hear now this, O foolish people, and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. Fear ye not me, said the Elohim. Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree, that it cannot pass it? And though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail? Though they roar, yet can they not pass over." See, that's the same as what I said is when we left Egypt from dealing with their culture, even though we had the Creator with us and seen His signs and witnessed the Creator, that we still didn't believe in the Creator, and how we would still embrace the cultures and the religions around us. See, that's what make us special about being an Israelite, is that we do have the potential to resist the other people's evilness and wickedness if we open our eyes up, if we open our ears up. And basically opening your eyes up is just basically believing in Almighty Yah. Believing in Almighty Yah. And if you believe in Almighty Yah and what Prophet Moses said in the past, then you're on the right tracks and you're going to basically do what's right. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't, then, we're going to stay in the position that we in now. You're going to see around you, but you ain't going to see. You're going to hear, but you can't hear. That's like, the prophet Jeremiah said. I'm going to go over this again because he right on point. All the prophets right on point when they said this. "Hear now this, old foolish people, and without understanding, which have which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. Fear ye not me, saith the Elohim. Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sands for the bounds of the sea by a perpetual decree, that it cannot pass it? And though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet can they not prevail. Though they roar, yet can they not pass over it." Okay, if you go to, that's going to be Ezekiel. Prophet Ezekiel was the man. All right, Prophet Ezekiel, that's going to be 12:12. He going to say the same thing. Just about all the prophets say the same thing. All right. Have eyes to see, but can't see. Ears to hear, but can't hear. All right. "The word of the Elohim also came unto me, saying, Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not. They have ears to hear and hear not, for they are a rebellious house." And like I said, that our problems gonna come from when we left Egypt and how we had the presence. That's like now. We ain't even seen the presence of the Creator. We just know that His word done come true through all them curses and having the Tanakh as a witness. And then, that's like in the Bible, how they used to get a rock and make that a witness between agreement. Well, this Tanakh, this, what they call the Old Testament, has been a witness against us. And, man, you see the conditions we in. You see the conditions we in as a people. It's going to go back to the biblical days. That's like, in the book of Ezekiel, he going to say this right here. If you go to Ezekiel 23, and then, what I'm saying, he going to let you know off the top the state of man that we was in. What I'm saying? Even being chased out the land and having the enemies come, that we were still like this. All right. If you go to Ezekiel, all right, and they committed The word of the Elohim came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the tents of their virginity. You see what I'm saying? So, he was talking about us. And that's basically what happened to us when we was in Egypt. We got so caught up in the materialism of Egypt, in the free living. And, the Egyptian had a system basically like they have today. And we got destroyed in it. We were supposed to separate. We were supposed to separate, develop the law that Moses gave us, which would have blocked Egypt from dealing with Mesopotamia. You know what I'm saying? We would have broke that chain of wickedness that stretched from Egypt all the way to Mesopotamia. We would have broke that chain of wickedness, and we would have been right there in the middle, and that would have doomed both of them, because both of them cultures needed each other. The Egyptian culture needed the Babylonian culture. And us having that covenant that Moses gave us, if we would have had eyes to see and ears to hear, we would have understood that, and we would have destroyed them folks just by doing the law that Moses gave us. And we also know that we didn't go in and destroy the Canaanite tribes when we came, into the promised land, and how we didn't destroy that Canaanite tribe. You know what I'm saying? And how we didn't destroy the Canaanite tribe, and them same Canaanite tribes, like Prophet Moses said, them folks gonna come back and be a thorn in our side. And sure enough, that's what happened to us, because we fell into their hands. The people that left the promised land in 70 AD, them Edomite, Amorite, Sephardi groups ran across North Africa up into Spain and Portugal, and they seated and waited. And then when the time was come to get us, they came down and got us. You know what I'm saying? In the Sahara. We was fighting against the Congo groups, the Congo groups, and them Angolian groups, and them folks there, and you know what I'm saying, and we had it out with them folks, and them folks, turned us over to our enemies, who brung us to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? And enslaved us, and sure enough blotted our heritage out. And whereas we couldn't have eyes to see and ears to hear it in, we come out of slavery the same way. But, the Creator prophesies that we will wake up, and, we're going to start understanding what we're going through as a people. It's like I said, I showed in the book of Ezekiel how, we did the Egyptian worship, and how we were stuck on the Egyptian culture and stuff. Well, check this out. They go back to, to the book of Jeremiah. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 15, 16, 17, and 18, we told the prophet Jeremiah, this was during the Babylonian wars. The Creator had sent Ashkenazi, the Scythians, in to drive us off the land. They came in under the name Chaldean. The Scythians controlled Chaldea at that time, and they came in, and then they chased us off the land into Africa. And while we was going, this is what we said to prophet Jeremiah. And it come to pass that when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking unto all the people all the words of the Elohim their Yah, for which the Elohim their Yah had sent him to them, even all these words, then spake Azariah the son of Hoshea, and Johanan the son of Ker, and all the proud men, saying unto Jeremiah, Thou speakest falsely. The Elohim our Yah hath not sent thee to say, Go not into Egypt to sojourn there. But Barash the son of Ner set thee on against us, for to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they might put us to death and carry us away into Babylon. Okay, we would run into Africa to live, basically till we was enslaved. And Africa is the Sahara. Egypt is the Sahara. Egypt is the Sahara. And that's where we went to live, in the Sahara. And it's a known fact that when we went into Africa, to Egypt, to sojourn, that when the Chaldeans took Egypt over, they held Egypt for 50 years. For 50 years. So, those Hebrews that was afraid of the Chaldeans, and the Chaldeans held Egypt to the promised land for 50 years till the Persians got them and took their power in 338 BC. You know what I'm saying? That's when the Persians took the Egypt from the Babylonians and took their little places that the Babylonians had. And it's a known fact that the exiles come back home from Babylon. That's going to be the book of Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Those books, show that we come back from Egypt. Came back from Persia, from being released from Babylon, and that the Hebrews that went into Africa during the Chaldean wars, the Babylonian wars, never come out, and that we never came out from Africa to be reunited with the Hebrews that had went into Africa. We never did come out. I had some papers showing the names. Here we go. All praise be Almighty. See, what I'm saying? When the exiles come back from Babylon, and after the Persians freed them, and that's going to be them prophets and those folks, and how we that went into Africa never came back out of Africa to be reunited with them. And it's going to be all the tribes, all of us. I show how it was no 10 lost tribes, no lost tribes in the other videos, and how we all went into Africa during the Babylonian wars. And this would be us right here saying this: having eyes to see but can't see, ears to hear but can't hear. Like I said, we was messed up on that Egyptian culture, and that's one of the main reasons why they set an Egyptian system up here on us, because it was the Egyptian system that took us out of heritage. All right, if you go to Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 15, 16, 17, and 18 was a state of mind that never changed. And that's what caused our enslavement. All right. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. Now that's evil right there. And that's like now how we can see what's wrong and what's evil and what's no good, and gravitate towards it. And how we can see what's righteous and what's right in the right way, and we shun it. It's the same way in the Bible, and that's where they come from when we first left Egypt, and how we didn't, want to follow the Creator. You know what I'm saying? We left Egypt. You know what I'm saying? We left Egypt, man, and we didn't want to follow the Creator. We fake followed him. You know what I'm saying? We fake followed him. And when we got into the promised land and we started kicking, we got in there and got them folks up off the land and get us some land so we could have somewhere to stay, because we couldn't go back to Egypt. And then after that, we started kicking it with the evil, wicked people in the land instead of destroying them. And that's what the book of Judges is about. If you read the book of Judges, you'll learn a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? That's like this. This having eyes to see and can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear. If you go to Judges, if you go to the book of Judges, you'll see that, the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Benjamin got turned out, by them Amorites. The tribe of Benjamin got turned out by them Amorites. They gonna be the youngest tribe, and they got turned out. Living with them Amorites, and them Amorites put that gay culture on them. They had ritual prostitution, prostitution, temple worship. Where they had male prostitutes and women prostitutes in the temples, and they made money and live that way. And them Amorites, the people we abandoned our heritage to, control that. How about that they turned the tribe of Benjamin out? You know what I'm saying? Turned them out. Anytime we kick it with some people that's not us, and they have a culture in place, and that culture gonna be wicked because they ain't worshiping the Creator, and we gravitate towards that, we get destroyed. We get destroyed. We cannot do the wickedness that the other people do. You see, the other people can survive in slop and filth and waste. They can live in waste and be all right. We can't live in waste and be all right. Us living in waste destroy us. You know what I'm saying? But the enemies, they can live in some filth and do all kind of abominable stuff, and it just don't take them out real fast. But soon as we start to do it, it take us down through there. You know what I'm saying? That's like I say, Hebrews have eyes to see, but can't see, and ears to hear, but can't hear, is because we don't put our total trust in the Creator, like our father Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Moses, did. And we won't, trust the Creator like we supposed to. That's like you have a great percentage of the Hebrews now worshiping the demigod, the Jesus or Yawashi or whatever you want to call him, worshiping that and thinking that, you finna be saved through that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be the way that our enemies developed and gave us. Like I say, if you had eyes to see and ears to hear, you would know that the enemy gave us Jesus in the slavery days. And how, I got videos showing that Jesus only kicked it with the people in the Decapolis in Galilee who were Scythians, the people who had settled during the Babylonian Wars. I got videos showing you how Ashkenazi settled in Scythopolis, which was the head Decapolis city. You know what I'm saying? Them people chased us, into the Africa. You know what I'm saying? Into them Egyptians' hands. I got videos, going in this, and them the people that we see that we was afraid of, and how Ner and Baras was trying to deliver us into their hands, and that's gonna cause us to go into Egypt. But we was already blind by the Egyptian worship. I could show you that we was blind off the Egyptian worship, going all the way back to when Jeroboam come out of Egypt with the 2 golden calves, the Egyptian religion, and put it on us. Old wicked King Solomon. King Solomon was a real wicked king. And if you believe what these beasts say, man, about Solomon being a wise king, then you know what I'm saying, that's going back to having eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear. Because if you read throughout the scriptures, you'll see that Solomon failed, and Solomon was one of the main reasons to cause the whole kingdom to fall down, because up on building the temple and putting the Creator name in there, he gonna go build temples and places of worship for the women and the other people that was in the land that he wasn't supposed to. And the kingdom split after, Solomon's death, and how Rehoboam wasn't able to keep and hold on to it, and how Jeroboam was driven into Egypt by Solomon, driven to his relatives, and then how he come out of Egypt with the 2 golden calves and put it on the northern kingdom, that we stayed on it all the way to King Josiah cleaned it up about 300 years later, and we was only off of the Egyptian religion for 30 years, and we went right back to it after the Egyptians killed King Josiah, and we went into Africa, and this is where we at now. You see what I'm saying? This is where we at now, and we don't have no eyes to see the wickedness that's going on now, and we don't have no ears to hear a righteous person that's trying to tell us that, hey y'all, we can't be this way, and we the Hebrews, and we have to be this way. You see what I'm saying? But the creator finna do something to this system, meant to where your eyes finna wake up and you finna start hearing what you supposed to hear. Alright, if you go to let's show this here with King Solomon and show how that Egyptian system gathers and how we had ears to hear and couldn't hear, and eyes to see but couldn't see. You know, that's like I said, you know, that Solomon, you know, chased Jeroboam into Egypt. And if you go to alright, this gonna be alright, and Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt unto Shawshank. Now we know that Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim, and that the tribe of Ephraim was kin to the Egyptians, and then kin to the Egyptians royalty through Joseph marrying Asenath and having her as a wife and having two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Alright, and Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite, that's the Ephraimite of Zerudah, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zur, a widow woman. Even he lifted up his hand against the king, you know, and Solomon chased him into Egypt. But look, let's go back. Let's go back to this is gonna be Genesis 42, I think. Genesis 42. Alright, shalom. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. How we have ears to hear but can't hear, and eyes to see but can't see. And all we got to do is see that we can't do none of this stuff that these other folks do, and how we have to lead the way with being righteousness. Alright, man, if you look right here, you'll see that, alright, in Pharaoh called Joseph name Zaphaniah Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out all over Egypt. See, and then he gonna have the sons, and unto Joseph were born two sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the first born Manasseh, for Yah had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. In the name of the second called he Ephraim, for Yah had caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. You see what I'm saying? So Joseph having them two sons, and we know that when Solomon chased Jeroboam into Egypt, that he was, and Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim, that he was chasing him to his relatives. You see what I'm saying? And then when Solomon passed away, and then Jeroboam come out, and then, you know, you're going to see he put up the two golden calves, whereupon the king took counsel and made two calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, he dealing with the Jeroboam dealing with the prophet, and the prophet told him that he would get the kingdom, and how he had eyes to see but couldn't see, and ears to hear but couldn't hear. You see what I'm saying? And that is what the Egyptians wanted to happen to us, because like I said, the Egyptians did trade with the Mesopotamians. You know, they did trade with the Mesopotamians, made sails, boats, clothes, and everything. And they did trade. And those was like enslaving nations, where they enslave you and make the people that they enslave do the work. You know, the same way this nation is, the way that this nation was built up. Well, okay, Hebrews, when Jeroboam was chased into Egypt, and then he come out and put them two golden calves on us, that was helping the Egyptians get back across the promised land, going back and forth with their wickedness, trying to reestablish the chain of wickedness that we supposed to have broke with the law that Moses gave us. You see what I'm saying? But we had eyes to see and couldn't see, and ears to hear and can't hear. You know what I'm saying? And Jeroboam, like I said, he come out of there with the 2 golden calves. That would stay on us. And look at this prophecy right here. 13, and 13 is a bad number to the beast. All right, and behold, there came a man, and this is in 931 BC. All right, and behold, there came a man of Yah out of Judah by the word of the Elohim unto Bethel, unto Jeroboam, stood by the altar to burn incense, and he cried against the altar in the word of the Elohim, and said, O altar, altar, this saith the Elohim, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. All right, and sure enough, 300 years later, King Josiah born. You know what I'm saying? And he would clean up that Egyptian religion. He would clean up that Egyptian religion. But then this old wicked King Necho, the Egyptian king, would come out and kill him. Because we had eyes to see and didn't see, and ears to hear but couldn't hear. That's a statue of the King Necho that killed King Josiah, that will put us back up on the Egyptian religion, that will make the Creator send Ashkenazi in under the name Scythian to chase us out into Africa, where we was enslaved from, and then at the same time we was abandoning our heritage to those folks. You see what I'm saying? To them people. That's how they got our heritage. And then we abandoned our heritage to the worst entity on earth, because those people were Babylonian scribes responsible for Babylon history going all the way back to the Tower of Babel. They had never got it. They had never been destroyed, and they was placed in our land while we was on the Egyptian religion. You see, because this is in 931 BC, we was on that Egyptian religion all the way to King Josiah cleaned it up. And then that's going to start around about 2nd Chronicles 34, And Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Elohim, and walked in the ways of David his father, and declined neither to the right hand nor to the left. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the Yah of David his father. And in the 12th year, he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places, and the groves, and the carved images, and the molten images, the same as what Prophet Isaiah said, that how we'll eat the flesh of their abomination and bow down to a stalk. Stuff that don't mean nothing and have no control of nothing, and how we made them our gods. Alright. That's that stuff he was cleaning up, King Josiah. And they break down the altars of Balaam in his presence, and the images that were on high above them. He cut down in the groves, and the carved images, and the molten images. He brake down in pieces, and made dust of them, and strode it upon the graves of them that had sacrificed unto them. And he burnt the bones of the priests upon their altars, and cleaned Judah and Jerusalem. And so did he in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, and Simon, even unto Naphtali, with their mattocks round about. That's the whole kingdom. And when he had break down the altars and the groves, and had beaten the graven images into powder, and cut down all the idols throughout all the land of Israel, he returned to Jerusalem. So that prophecy came to pass 300 years later, after Solomon's death, and Jeroboam, being on the throne and putting us on that Egyptian worship. And then how after 30 years, this evil beast come out and killed King Josiah. That's why when we be saying black on black, it's black on black love. We having eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear, because all black folks ain't the same, and they don't treat us the same. Look at the folks in Africa, how long we been here, and how not one time have they all raised the issue and say, hey, let's go get them that was taken from this land in the transatlantic slave trade. Let's bring them here and restore them. Man, ain't none of them folks been thinking about us. And they've been doing billions of dollar deals with the beast and caught in a cycle of debt and can't break out of it and won't even come try to get us. You know what I'm saying? That's because we the Hebrews, and half them folks know that we ain't them, and that we the Israelites. And that we the Israelites of the Tanakh that broke the covenant. You know what I'm saying? In the book of Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? That's like they got that evil statue, that evil obelisk in New York. It's called the Cleopatra needle. You know, that was brung here when they put the Egyptian system down on us after they then enslaved us and broke our back and our will. And then they come with this obelisk, which symbolized the abortions, the slick killings, the everything that Egypt did on the slick to destroy us is what that obelisk represent. And they got both of them up in New York. He the dude that killed King Josiah, that'll put us back on the Egyptian religion after King Josiah cleaned it up. But like I said, we abandon our heritage to some Babylonian scribes. If you go to 2 Kings chapter 17, turn right to it. 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 24, you'll see that name Sepharvaim. That's the Sephardi Jews. Those are Babylonian scribes, and them the people that control the whole media, that developed the whole Western hemisphere, the whole Western civilization, from all in Europe to the Americas, and how they the hidden force that keep everything popping in our lives that's negative through the media, through the TVs and through the radios, and then they promote the mixing. You know, them the folks that promote the mixing, and mixing means destruction for us. You know, if we mix with some folks and lose, you know what I'm saying, we lose when we mix. You know what I'm saying? When we mix with some other folks, you lose your ability to be a Hebrew. You caught in the middle, and you can't represent us, and they destroy us like that. You know, that's how they destroyed the exiles. When the exiles come back from Babylon, they mixed them and started to put they women and everything on them, and that's what destroyed the exiles. But you know, confusion, they create confusion by mixing, is what Babylon mean. And those the people that's promoting that mix agenda on TV in the media. You see, Hebrews have eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear, and they plan on destroying us that way through the mixing that they are promoting stuff. And if they can mix us out of our heritage, or mix us, or think that we should be mixed with other ethnic groups, then you will no longer have the desire to be an Israelite. You see what I'm saying? And that's they plan, and that's how they destroyed the exiles from Babylon. Knocked them off so fast the Greeks come in and got them, because they couldn't pass their heritage over to them other folks. And the Greeks come in and wiped them out, and they didn't record it. But Babylon means mixing, and then that's where these folks from. You know, and we abandon our heritage to them, and they got control of this whole America. And they don't just rule it outright, they rule in the back through the banks. You know, the banks make the decisions of what's going to happen to corporations, and the banks make the decisions, and that's what they in control of, and they make the laws for this land. All right, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cuddar, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And like I said, during the Babylonian wars, when we ran into Africa, afraid of the Chaldeans, all the tribes, because it wasn't no 10 lost tribes, here it is, that we abandoned our heritage to them folks first. You know, and all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they was afraid of the Chaldeans. You know, we was in Egypt, we was in Africa, and once we was in Africa, it was over with. The curses was starting to set in. You know, curses starting to set in. But like I say, you know, and I done showed that all the prophets said that we had eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear. is because when we get with the other people and get with their culture, we be trying to please them instead of trying to please the Creator. We so quick to try to please the people that don't have no good set for us, and we'll do whatever they want us to do. If they want us to not worship the Creator and say, hey, that's not friendly, then we'll break away and go be with them. And that's how we've been destroyed the whole time, because we have eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear but can't hear. We can see wickedness right before us and know that that's wicked and wrong, and we won't shun away from it. It's like that old wicked music that we be listening to, and it's wicked and no good. And some Hebrews don't even know that it's wicked and bad to be listening to all that murderous self-genocide music, and they think that this just the way it's supposed to be. That's having eyes to see but can't see, and ears to hear and can't hear, and how we could be in the midst of the other people, and how we don't have no desire to break away from their wickedness, and how we just follow suit with them like it's just okay. Well, the Tanakh is our history, and it show you that we get destroyed every time that we follow up behind somebody else's culture. Every time we follow up behind their religion and worship the way they do and believe the way that they do, we get destroyed. Okay, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. We're going to wake up, and we're going to have eyes to see, and we're going to have ears to hear, because the Creator said it. The Creator said we're going to wake up, so we're going to wake up. But like I said, we abandoned our heritage to some Babylonian scribes, and those Babylonian scribes had thousands of years of setting up governments, administrations, and everything. And all that stuff is set up around us that them people control, and we don't have eyes to see it or ears to hear it. Well, some of us do. And this is what I'm letting this message out to y'all. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Shalom to you Hebrews, and continue to watch the videos and subscribe also. Shalom. Wake up, Hebrews. Wake up.